What we're here for is to learn from all of our panelists what they experienced in Vegas, what they learned, what they're going to implement into their business. I have a list of questions that we're going to go through, and we're kind of going to get to hear from everyone on the panel and see what they learned, see what they are going to be implementing into the business, all right? Everyone introduce yourselves and tell us how long you've been in real estate. You go first, Kenya.
No pressure at all. Kenyatta Owens, and this is my first year.
Danny Cedillo, 19 years.
Trisha Helton, 5.
Oh, awesome. Alrighty. Now, what was your overall impression of family reunion this year? Overall. See,
There's a lot of people.
Yes.
I think, yeah, go ahead. I think that this year, in comparison to, I would say, like the last 5, there was more breakout opportunities. I think there was a lot more people. And yeah, I mean, I think it was just a lot, but in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, it was probably the most amount of agents I've seen at family reunion for years. And this year, I thought the vibe was really good, motivated, hopeful, business-oriented, willing to make connections. I loved the energy.
And yourself, Nyada, as a first-time family reunion attendee?
For me, it was overwhelming and awe-inspiring. I only say overwhelming because generally I stay away from large crowds, but I was mentally prepared for that. But it was nice to see so many people passionate about what they do, and everyone was super friendly and wanted to connect, so that helped. That helped a lot.
Right. All right, now let's talk about, can you highlight 1 or 2 key takeaways from the convention that really stood out to you? Who wants to start?
For me, 2 takeaways were mindset and movement.
Okay.
So I think that was a general theme on a few of the breakouts and the main stage. That was something that stuck out to me.
Yes.
Building relationships, nurturing relationships.
And what, like, on here?
Some of the same, and then value. Making your value clear to those you're working with.
Come on up. Sorry. Geraldine is here.
Sorry guys, it was my bad.
You're fine. We were just talking about, we had everyone introduce themselves, right? This is Geraldine. How long have you been in the business?
Since dinosaurs roamed the earth. 2002.
Okay.
So I was at Coldwell Banker for 16 years, and then I moved over here. And yeah, I've not looked back, so it's been a great experience.
Awesome. And then we were asking how many family reunions have you attended?
I think this was my third.
Your third.
Yeah, and
Was
by
it-
far the best.
By far?
It really was. It was, even though Las Vegas is a dangerous place to have a conference, it was so fulfilling. I got so much out of it. I prepared for it, and I was very intentional about like the classes that I wanted, the breakouts I wanted to take. So I really feel like because of that, I had like a consistent theme that kept showing up in all the classes that I took.
Allison is here.
Hi.
We were catching everyone up because Geraldine also just walked in. We were asking, how long have you been in the business? And how many family reunions have you attended?
So, been in the business since 2015. That's when I was licensed. This is my first family reunion. And
Really?
wow. I know, it was, oh my God. So, I don't know. I should have been going all the time.
Right.
Yeah, good job.
Awesome. And then, what were 2 key takeaways that you had from family reunion?
Have you guys already shared yours? Okay. Has anyone talked about like the lack of ceiling here? So my biggest thing, right, was because when I first started my professional career as an accountant, so I knew, my first year I was going to make 42,000. 10 years in, I'd be making about $10,000, and then once I was like running my own CPA firm, I'd be making about 250, and I'd be like 20 years in, right? So totally a ceiling when it came to my other career. And then when I came here, and then was at family reunion, I'm seeing people that are doing 10, 20 times what I do. They have the exact same hours in a day, and it's just mind blowing because there is absolutely zero ceiling in this industry. I mean, we can make as much as we're willing to grow into. And so that was my biggest takeaway, was that I was in this room with all of these huge, huge fish. And we're capable of becoming as big as them, if not bigger, because the path is laid out. And it's all there for us to go with.
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome.
Piggybacking on that, did anybody go to the Dream Big, sell over 50 homes a year?
Yes.
Okay, so Abe Shoup talked about how if you look at what your goals are, it's like on a graph, right? Time versus units, right? He says the goal of selling 10 homes versus 100 is no different. Like what you have to do, it's in the, you don't want to, it's in the habits that you create. Because I've been like the most amount of homes I've sold in 1 year is like 60. And I was on the verge of a nervous breakdown. That was when I was at Coldwell Banker. And mind you, I was working for like almost 1% commission on each property because I was doing relocation. And so I came here and I learned how to fish, but he said, the process is the same for wanting to sell 10 homes versus 100. The difference is of course in what your habits are to get there, how committed you are to the habits, and then how much you're willing to box yourself in. So if you think of the graph where you would put the dot on the graph, time versus units, you're creating a box, and that's the box you're putting yourself into. So I just thought, okay, that's exactly what I needed to hear. And then he said that once the mind has been stretched, it can't go back. Kind of like a pair of granny pants. I just thought, no, but you won't forget it now, right?
Granny pants.
So yeah, so self-mastery, shutting up the inner dialogue that tries to derail you, right? So all the stuff we know. It's just packaged in a way that makes you like have better clarity on it and see it and realize like, that's what what you need to do. Also the ADHD panel. Did any of you attend that?
I tried.
Oh, you gotta register. And they're like, what kind of people, what kind of network, to be on the ADHD, but it was so funny because every time I heard each one of these people that were grossing 3-4 million a year, and they were talking, and one was talking super fast, and then another one was like, well, how did I get to this point? And I was like, this is like looking in the mirror. And one of the things that they really talked about is hacking your life. So like, if you know me, I'm huge on systems. Like I started doing that at a very young age because I hated not remembering where I left stuff, right? Or I hated like scrambling at the last minute because whoever did projects the day before they were due, right? Like I hated that. I mean, it was the worst anxiety. So they talked about the definition of neurodivergent, and it means divergent from normal. A lot of us who struggle with like this focus, we just want to be normal. But we're not normal. Why do you want to be normal? We're more than normal. And you're more than enough. So lean into what you're good at. And we don't lead generate the same way we're taught in the standard typical way. We lead generate, we just don't know we're lead generating. Because we're chatty Cathy's and everywhere we go we make a new friend, right? She's like my golden retriever. So those were the two big takeaways. I mean, there's just so much. I've got all these little stickies here from all the great things that we got from that. But
That's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah. Does any?
Jeff Glover's listing presentation, did you guys go to that?
Yeah.
So this man goes up there and for a full hour just does a listing presentation in front of us, had like a offset where like he had filmed it with a selling couple and how he handled every objection. And the cool thing is, like, we've been taught most of what he does. He's just perfected it. So like his objection handlers to like, I need to sleep on it. And it's like, okay, well, you know, generally when I hear that it's because people need a private moment to talk. I'm going to step outside. You guys discuss this and wave me back in. I'm going to make a couple phone calls. And I've done that and it works. And he did it in his and it was beautiful and polished. And I was like, oh yeah, I need to use that every single time. But his entire listing presentation, he put it all out there. There was probably 2,000 people in that room.
Yeah.
It was one of the biggest problems.
Yeah, and I mean,
And I
it
think
was,
they aired it because I think you guys
we
saw
saw
it.
it. We did.
Yeah.
wasn't
I streamed
it
it too.
awesome? Yeah, so we just need to practice that because he does that perfectly. Yeah.
The next question is, how do you think attending family reunion will impact your business moving forward? Who wants to start? Do you think?
I think it's gonna fine tune what I do and sharpen my skills.
Sleeping?
So my coach is doing, we're doing a reading club, book club for exactly what to say. She's gonna do the real estate version of it, because there's different versions of it, right? So we're gonna do that. Yeah, and one of the presenters, he talked about how you don't want to just give somebody an elevator speech on like, well, why should I choose you? And then the guy, he picked somebody from the audience, say, oh, well, because I do this and I do that. The most boring word in the world is I. So it was really more about like talking to people, getting to know what their needs are, and really showcasing how much you care about them.
You're important to me.
Yes, you're important to me. I'm going to treat you like family. I'm going to fight for you. And all the
I'm gonna
skills,
listen to you.
I'm going to listen to you, and we're going to zone in on what you want. So I felt like that was like bringing it back. I've told people, like, if you don't like people, this is probably not the business for you.
My biggest takeaway was just being remembered when you have conversation about putting value on the table. So people do business with you because they like you, because you are the expert, you care about them, and you're adding value to them, to their lives, to their transaction. And we keep forgetting that it is about them when we get really busy by pointing out it's about us. Like, hey, this is what I can do. This is what I have done. This is my designations, my year in real estate. They don't care.
Yeah.
They care about you caring about them and adding value to what you're doing. So that was my biggest aha.
So that's what you feel is going to impact your business the most, is by being reminded of that, right?
Just for me, yeah, not to be reminded about that, but for me to make sure that I do a good job in letting them know how much value it adds if they chose the right realtor, how much value it adds if they hire somebody who knows what they're doing. It comes back to you build a relationship.
Right.
You're no longer transactional. And, you know, those that are in this business for more than a year and have gone through that COVID crazy shift, we have gone from a relationship business to let's just knock out this transaction and get to the other one at 11 o'clock at night. And we have to snap out of that habit and go back in, you know, we're in a people business. We need to show that we care about people.
Awesome. What about you, Trisha? What do you think you'll be? How do you think a family reunion will impact your business?
I mean, I think it's just, for me, the events that KW has, they're almost like resets. That's how I use them. I have referral partners at other duty stations, and so when I go to family reunion, I make sure that I am more purposeful with connecting with them as well as the communities that I'm a part of, like the KW military community. And so for me, it's just like a reset almost. And I think that they time it perfectly with the beginning of the year and as we transition into like the holidays. and that sort of thing. And so for me, I wouldn't say like, how am I going to necessarily use it? But I think that it just is almost just a reminder of what I'm doing and what I've been doing. And so I love the fact that not only in like main session do they talk about showing your value to your clients. Like that value all day long was my biggest takeaway from like probably the first or second day. And I love that because it tells me that I've been doing something right. All of my business is relationship based. And so I love it. I feel like there's certain takeaways that I did was thinking like, wow, that's awesome, that's amazing. And then there's other things that I feel like it just makes you think like you've been doing the right thing, I guess, like there's just different takeaways, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. And Kenyatta, can we hear from you as the the first? No, yeah, this is your first year being licensed. This is your first family reunion. That's a big deal. That's a big accomplishment to have within your first year, right? Not a lot of people are as committed to wanting to do
I wish
that.
I had. Like, I'm so impressed with you.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
yeah.
I love some of the things that everyone has said in relation to, like Trisha said, something about value, which I'm still trying to figure that out, like what that looks like for me. And Danny said something in regards to comparing this season of real estate to previous seasons where you may necessarily not have had to have the relationship. So for me,
Welcome to normal real estate.
so one thing I tell people, like my friends and family or other realtors, like if I can figure this out now and build a good foundation in hard times, then I know I will be able to thrive in good times. Mm-hmm. But it's being consistent in times where you don't know if it's you or if that is what the season is. So for me, it's consistency and being open to realizing I don't know everything and I'm never going to, and that's a big thing for me.
Yeah.
And people, I keep hearing people say that, but sometimes it just feels like, girl, maybe it's not for you. So just
It's for
reminding
you.
myself, like
It's for you.
being consistent, being open to being coachable and doing the things, applying the techniques.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
One of the things that they said during the ADHD panel is never put anybody on a pedestal because you'll never measure up to that. And I told other agents, they're like, oh, I want to be like you. I'm like, why would you limit yourself like that? Like, seriously, you're not in competition with anybody else. Be in competition with yourself. Lean into who you are. And you know what? You're going to figure that out as you get beat up during the transaction.
Yep.
And the other thing is, like, welcome to regular real estate where you're going to have to learn skills. Because during the peak of that crazy market, even turkeys could fly in a hurricane. I stole that from Brian Buffini. But it's true. When the tide goes out, you're going to see who's swimming naked.
And you know what's so funny? When you're in this industry for so long, you can go to as many family reunions, masterminds, you name it. It all comes down to the same thing, go back to the basics.
Mm-hmm.
It never fails.
Yeah.
So there's no, the latest and greatest real estate, and oh my God, this is going to make a huge difference. It only makes a difference if you stick to your basics, because if you forget about that, then you can't build on.
Yeah. One of the things that we're doing is I need to lead by example. So Miss Lydia is amazing and she's so talented, and so we've been going with our natural skills, right? And we've been doing well that way. However, actively lead generating, I'm not doing that for 2 hours, and this family reunion was like, go back to the basics. And if you're not doing that, then are these careers not worth it to me to do it, right? I cannot ask for Lydia to do something that I'm not willing to do. So I have to clean my database. I have to do 2 hours of lead gen a day.
Hot buys.
Hot bags, apparently.
They work.
Yeah, I've got to get in front of our people to remind them that we do care and it is about them. And so leading by example, I think, was awesome. And we talked a lot between the two of us about how, we got kind of pulled up by other agents, right, who helped us when we were beginning, and we need to extend that hand down and keep pulling agents up along with us because it was done for us. And
teach them how to do it the right way.
Yeah.
None of this flashy, persona. I'm not a big fan of the flashy persona. I don't have a videographer following me around. I have a kid that's a photographer, but she's harder to get a hold of than regular photographers sometimes. But I mean, be yourself and just really help people. If you know a little something, a little nugget, share it with somebody else. I am absolutely appalled at the lack of understanding and professionalism in these newer generations that have opted to take online courses. There's nothing wrong. I'm taking my CE that way for some of my classes. However, there is something to be said for knowing how to even check on availability. How many agents have texted you on your listings? Hey, is this listing available? Who are you?
Yeah, I know. No, they don't announce themselves. It's crazy.
You're supposed to. And see, that's the thing that you don't learn in real estate school. So it's basic stuff like that, but how to approach renewing a listing. How to approach, a client who doesn't want to step up and make a more aggressive offer. All of those things, if you know anything about any of those things, share it. It's very, very valuable because, one of my ideas is I want to leave the world better than I left it. And I'd like to know that a little bit of me lives on in other people, right? Even if they hate me, it's okay. But if they learn something from it, that's even better, right? So leave something behind. Leave a little trickle in that water that affects the lives of other people down the road. And helping other people is the best way to do it.
Yep. Okay. Anything else? Do you wanted to add something? Yep. Okay. Cool. The next question, I feel like we've kind of answered a lot of these, so excuse me if I...
You're doing a great job, Chad.
Yes, you
are. Let's see. Did you have any memorable networking experiences or connections made at the convention? I wish Sarah was here because she got to meet a lot of big names out there.
Yeah.
That was one of her biggest goals was getting to know a lot of people and make connections to be able to bring them to the market center. Mm. So yeah, that would be a good question for her. But did you guys meet anyone in particular that stood out to you? And how do you plan on nurturing those connections?
I just started jumping in everybody's Ubers and Lyft rides with them. Because, we're all wearing Keller Williams name tags, and the time to get an Uber and a Lyft was ridiculous. And so, all of these one agents are getting in these Ubers and Lyfts, and I'm just like, look, we're all going to the same place. And so we would jump in a car and, on one in particular, I said, hey, we're cleaning up our database. Do you guys have any advice when it comes to tags in command? Are you using them? And she turns around and she's like, I'm in charge of tags in our office. And I'm like, oh, I love you. You're my new best friend. Can we talk about that? So she gave me the rundown, and then we exchanged emails, and she emailed me 2 days ago her entire tagging system. And then, we started going through it, and I did 30 of my contacts and using her tags. And I'm like, okay, love this. And then I shot back to her. I'm like, have you ever thought of tagging your buyers with whatever percent of interest rate they closed at, rounded to the nearest quarter, 7.25, 7.5, and that way when they drop to a 5.5 and it's actually worth it, you can make that call and say, hey, I just want you to know it would be a good time to refinance unless you're planning on moving in the next 3 to 5 years. And this is why the interest rates have now dropped. It will cost you about this much. However, if you're going to be moving, there are some loan origination fees, so we need to kind of balance that out. Do you plan to move in the next 3 to 5 years? And one, you're giving them an awesome service by letting them know, like your lenders do, right? I don't know which one of you told me that you do that. Maybe it was you, Liz, that you reach out to them and are like, we should do that. So we're going to start tagging all of our buyers with their interest rate so we can have that conversation in case our lender isn't having that conversation. By the way, if you work with Cadence, they're already having that conversation and reminding you who you worked with before. So these girls, that's their idea and I stole it. But we're going to use it in our tagging system. And then she got me back, oh my God, this is amazing. We're going to do this on our team too. And I'm like, I'm glad I was able to provide a little bit of value because you've provided me so much. So now we're working together.
So to piggyback on that, I've had 2 listings come back to me where I sold it the last time and another agent represented the buyer on it. But those agents left the business or are no longer in El Paso. And so what I do now is on every listing that I sell, I create a follow-up. For 1 year later, I do a quick 1-line CMA for that property and I mail it to them. Now, of course, if it's another KW agent, I won't do it, right? But I also like to check to see if that agent's even still in the business. So if you made friends with other agents that have either left El Paso or no longer in the business, I have like 4 agents like that start sending me referrals. And a lot of that is why? Because I've either mentored them or helped them or whatever. So it's always good to be helpful and to be useful. So that's another thing. You can circle back and once a year have a little tag, a reminder on your phone or whatever system you use, just to send a 1-line CMA. You can even go to Remind and pull up the Remind, the full printout, highlight the different values and write a little note. Hey, if you're interested in knowing what all these values mean, give me a call.
And 3 months into that too, you should be sending them a card telling them like, hey, I checked, you haven't filed your homestead yet.
Yeah,
It's free to do that.
Yeah, that's a great one too.
Yeah, so homestead, a CMA showing them how their property is valued and making sure they've got, that they can call you, and because you like sending them a message saying like, hey, I have tried and tested all of my electricians, my plumbers, my HVAC contractors have worked on my properties before I will ever refer them out to anyone. So if you need somebody, you only need to save 1 number and that's mine. And the amount of times a week that I text over an HVAC or a plumber or an electrician, like those are a lot of touch points that I have, and those are clients coming back to me with that. We do that with orphan buyers, which are on the other side of transactions, right?
Yep.
And we
But
just,
not on mine, right?
well, no, you would kill me.
No.
I know that.
Just be careful. If you have a good rapport with the agent, don't do that.
But they should be getting their homestead exemption.
They
And
should.
If their agent isn't helping them get their homestead exemption, they're not doing their job.
They're not doing their job.
And so I will help anybody get their homestead exemption because taxes are expensive.
So good.
Is lead generation through contribution, right? Which is what you're doing, right? You're giving, you're helping.
Let me grab some notes.
And he said that there's a plane where Shane lives and is talking about money. So, it's very important, especially with buyers, especially with clients that are going through tough times, always make sure that they know that they can have those money discussions with you. I don't get super into their finances when I pre-qualify them, but even with yourself, how many of us have put our head in the sand when it comes to money? Big time. Yeah. But now I am in a daily routine of checking my bank account because I don't want anybody stealing my card in Vegas because I went to some place I shouldn't have. I'm just kidding. You got that money back, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
because I stayed in Mandalay Bay.
Yeah. So anyway, but just think about that. It's not just about how to deal with clients, but also look at your finances. It's very, very important. You can do Popeyes on a nothing budget. And if you want any ideas, just ask me. Because when I was a broke single mom, I would go to Big Lots or before that was McFrugals.
Yeah.
That tells you how old I am. And I bought stuff and people loved it. It's not about the dollar amount of what you're spending. It's about how you're giving that.
Texture.
Yes.
Yeah.
So green necklaces and glasses for St. Patty's Day coming up. Our cute drop by.
I already got these.
You already did it? Or
No. Not every
So Geraldine gave me a really great idea on our drive to go get dinner at a cool deli that was really far away from the hotel that Letty wanted to go to.
We thought she was going to take us out to the desert and kill us.
Yeah, no, we were just going towards nowhere. But it was an amazing deli. But so Geraldine keeps her Popeyes in the car. And because I tried doing a Popeye once, it was an epic failure because I went and I bought tamales. And then I was going to drop it off at 20 people's houses. took me all goddamn day. I was like, what's that going to take me, 2 hours? No, all day. And I'm like, I'm not doing this again because one, I just made my clients chunkier. And, it took me all day and I should have used it differently. But how Geraldine does it, she keeps all of her stuff in. And then when she's in that neighborhood, she knows where her houses are. And she does those Popeyes. And I could provide so many relationships just by doing that this next week. So
Seriously, and I've got it down to a system. So every time you go back in your database, anybody you've sold a house to, tag them on your Google Maps, and then you can put them under a list. And I have a Popeye list. So when I have time and I'm really being like intentional, and I want to really kill it that next day on my Popeyes, like you can do up to 10 addresses in Google Maps, and you can rearrange them for the shortest amount of time, and then I email myself that list. So then when I'm ready to go in the morning, my starting point is my house. I tap on the link, and it takes me boom, 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 boom. So I can do like 10 Popeyes in an hour and a half.
do you talk to the doorbells?
Oh yeah.
Do you guys talk to the doorbells?
Oh yeah.
Yeah? Yeah. When you're door knocking too, talk
Yeah,
to the
and then
doorbells.
they'll take some very embarrassing pictures of me bending over and making a Popeyes, and then they'll text.
I can just see you already.
Yeah.
It might even be cute to text before, like, hey, I'm going to be dropping off something at your front door. Take an embarrassing picture of me. I want to do a compilation. From your doorbell. And then you can post it all together. Yeah.
Have fun with it. So.
Awesome. Cool. Kenyatta, I want to hear from you as far as like referrals, building relationships out there in family reunion. How did that go for you?
It went well because I naturally don't gravitate to people that I don't necessarily know. So I definitely did set a amount of people that I wanted to introduce myself to. Mm-hmm. So that worked well for me. So going with the plan and sticking to that plan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. And how are you planning on nurturing those relationships?
I like the tags idea, like making sure I stay connected or at least reach out on a regular basis.
Awesome. Alrighty. And then the next question, how do you guys stay motivated and continue to grow in your real estate career? And obviously, right? How do you guys plan on staying motivated throughout the year?
I have a vision board.
That's the vision.
And the vision board is based on the Buffini 5 circles. So there's family, business, faith, health, finances. And so every morning I look at that and then I do my affirmations. But I have a coach who keeps me accountable, right? And tracking your numbers. Like, why are you working your tail off this year? Mm-hmm. Is it because, if you don't know where you're going, you're not gonna get there. So like I have a number goal, and I have like, and constantly checking in with yourself too. Like I live and die by my check-in list. Like I have like every quarter I check in with certain people. Every so often I look at where I'm at with the number of transactions I have and how many I have in the pipeline, and I say, okay, by this time I should be 40% into the year or 30% into the year. Do I have that many transactions? Do I have to buffer for, normally the first quarter is the slowest time, right? So systems, checking in, daily, chunk it down. Like, are you doing on a daily basis, are you doing what you're supposed to do? Which is to generate business. If you can't answer that every day, then you're doing something wrong. And it's dumb because I paid for Buffini coaching one year and I thought it was so expensive. It was like $400 a month. And you know what I took away from that? A sticky note on my fridge that said, talk to people.
So we can all write that down to this.
Yeah, $4,800 worth of coaching. Right there. This was back in 2007, 8. So there you go.
I have a big measuring stick on the window in my office, and it has, Lydia and I want to get to $30 million this year. That's terrifying to say out loud, by the way, but that's what we're gonna do.
Go for it.
So it goes all the way up to 30 million, right? And it's got the benchmarkers, and so every time there's a closing, it's kind of shaded in. And so right now we're pretty low on that big old bar, but it's a big window. What helps me though is I have my production for 2019, our production for 2020, our production for 2021, 2022. So I can be like, okay, you know, we're a little bit behind the curve right now. However, compared to 2019, Allison, we're killing it. You know, and then I can look at where we were at this time last year, and I'm like, okay, we're actually on track to do a little bit more, but we need to really pour in if we're going to get to that extra $8 million of production that we want to get to. So I'm very visual, and I need to have that, and I need to track it every single time.
Can you take a picture of that and send it to me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember I used to have it just on my marker board when Matt Riddle was our team leader, and he would come in at least once a week and look at it and be like, "You're behind, you're behind." And my goal at that time was $10 million, and I was by myself, and I'm like, "I know." And he's like, "Well, what are you gonna do to fix it?" And we both sit there and like stare at the board and talk about how I was gonna fix it. And he's like, "Well, get to work, because you know you got a lot of making up to do." And I'd be like, "Yeah, man, I'm on it." But that was a weekly conversation because he knew what my goals were, right? And then it was October when I finally shaded in up to a 10 million marker, and he was teaching a class in the classroom, and I went into the classroom and I went, and he's like, "No fucking way!" And he was, you know, so having that cheerleader in your corner, and you know, Matt's, you know, thousands of miles or 500 miles away now, but still checks in with me, "Where's your production at?" You know, every couple of months, and having someone in your office know where that's supposed to be and know where it is, and who's willing to have a weekly, like, what do you not care about your goals? Like, is that just there for decoration? That's great for me, and I like that.
You do well under like drill sergeant.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. Be mean to me. What the hell? I want to be mean to me.
But in one of the classes I went to, it said make it visual so you can celebrate it too, though.
Oh,
so if you're
so
being hard on
good.
yourself, but also just sometimes I'm like, oh, I had a closing out, I'm gonna add 50,000 to this or whatever. Like it just helps to.
I love the idea
Celebrate.
of doing those showing what your production was, so you know that you're ahead.
Yeah.
So like last year, my production dipped, and I felt like such a loser, and I was like, man. And I was just beating myself up. And when I actually saw like my bottom line, I was like, I actually did better than I thought. And you know, everybody was projecting that we were going to see a dip of like 25% in business, but mine was actually like 20% instead of 25. I'm like, okay, I'm not such a loser. So you feel a little bit better about yourself.
I'm just a little loser.
I'm less of a loser. So, but I mean, it's great when you do that because you don't realize. Like, shit, I remember when I was a baby agent and I was just happy to do $1 million, right? And it's funny because, you know, I get these commission checks, and, you know, when you're new, you're like, yes, I'm rich, I'm gonna do that. And I'm like, okay, this is adding to the bucket. And it doesn't thrill me as much, but you need to have that visual to say, yes, I did it, and I got it done, right? So those are the things, like, when I was doing coaching during the peak, I paid off all my debt, which was a lot. I got my credit score up to over 800. I saved up money. I bought a house.
Yes, you did.
Yes. And I just thought, you know what? I just thought, man, I made a lot of money that year, but what did I do with it? Oh, yeah. And then you go through the list. So the visual is a great way to track, but it's also a great way to see if you're where you need to be. But it's also a great way to celebrate your wins. And that's really important because that gives you like the little push, the little engine that could push, you know?
And also having goals that are trackable. So like Lydia's got 3 goals, and like it's something that it's not just like do better with lead gen. It's like, you know, it's very specific.
Wake up
on
beautiful
what we're
every
doing.
day.
Like her last year's, or one of her goals this year was to buy a house. She checked that box. And not only did this girl buy a house, she bought a duplex. So she did the house hacking thing, and that other part of that rent is going to help pay her mortgage and taxes.
Nice.
So she bought a really smart house also. But so she has checkable goals. They're actually framed in our office. And, you know, as we accomplish them, I have to stand up on a table real haphazardly and check the box. But it is a nice celebration.
You know, Allison, I think you can afford to buy a ladder.
Have you seen my car? That needs to come first. I think, so, but something that, you know, I felt like a little less of a loser thing. I don't know if you guys feel this as well, but like even when you're doing the production that you wanted to or exceeding your goals, the moments of self-doubt are huge. They're with you all the time, and you do have to fight those off, and you do have to do your job. and know that even if you do feel like a loser that day, did I do my job? I did do my job. Well, then, and so it's this conversation with yourself about that self-doubt. It's there, and I think it's there even at the highest level. I've not asked like $100 million producer, but I would think that we all fight that. So if you guys are at all feeling that and that like thinking about ever giving up or maybe this isn't for me, you just have to put in the work.
Every realtor that is big in production has those doubts on a daily basis. It's self-reflection, adjusting, moving forward. Self-reflection, look at the goals, getting the help that you need, adjust, get going. Every year, when you reset your goals for the year, you always question, okay, I did last year, beep. Can I do it again? Progress on. Can I be better than that? Do I do less than that and then feel like a little loser, right? Is there something that I haven't done that gets me to that point? And it also means like you need to get really deep inside of you and ask yourself, have I asked for the help that I need? And that means like you're at coaching. I think you're not in coaching yet, but you're getting coaching here, so that's fantastic. But at some point, you just can't figure it out yourself. In a regular, let's just show up for a local class is not going to help you get up to the next level. You can only go so much before you reach your ceiling, and then you have to adjust. And what helped me is I'm in mastery coaching for, I don't even know, 10 years. 10 years. And I have changed my coaches over the course of those 10 years 4 times. I literally just made the change in October. It's still a mastery, but it's a transformational. So that person does not work on your business. It works on your mind and on your heart. And it helps you, kind of like my little shrink. That's what my best friend said. Oh, you got a new shrink in real estate. Yes, I got a new shrink. So that's the person that will not just hold me accountable and literally on a weekly basis, like what Matt Rudel did to you, like, hey, you suck, you're behind it, what are you going to do about it? Or overachiever, don't slow down, don't take that foot off that gas pedal. But it's also like, okay, how was your week on a personal level? Was there a lot of inside noise? Like I had last year, I had a lot of inside noise from finding out we have a new daughter that nobody knew existed, losing family members, losing beloved pets, the market, the way it changes, and people last year were angry, and we are in the front row when buyers get angry that they don't get the house that they want. When sellers get angry because they feel like, they lost out on the market, we're the ones that are getting beaten up. And so you can either try to work through it yourself, which usually causes, some sort of distress within your family, right? Your partner is usually the one that takes the beating when you're having a bad day. Or you could start realizing, okay, I really need help on this one. Like somebody that understands my business and where I'm coming from and why I'm frustrated. And so that helped me really break through this year. And not to brag, but to put it in perspective, I closed out last year was my worst year in real estate, really, 28 homes. And this year, this quarter as of today, I want to say I hit my 18th contract.
Nice. I like that one.
So, because that outside noise was literally holding me back from moving forward, and that's why it's okay to make changes. It's okay to ask for help, and that's what Keller Williams is all about. Yeah.
Who loves Ted Lasso? Who watches that show? Nobody? I love it. I love it. You guys, I slept on that and I was like fighting it, and I finally watched it, and I burned through all 3 seasons in a little over a week.
Let me watch the final episode, so don't spoil it.
Oh no, I won't. But there's an episode where one of the characters needs some advice, and because she gets this great business opportunity, and she feels bad because she has to leave the job that she is in, and her boss is also like her best friend. So one of the characters said something like, a good mentor hopes you never leave, a great mentor expects you to leave. So that talks about like the evolution of like your growth, your ceiling. I just recently changed coaches as well because I felt like I was stuck. So my theme word for this year is unstuck. I want to get unstuck. So one of the things that I was thinking about while Danny was talking was that we worry so much about our inner dialogue, but we also worry so much about what other people say or rejection, right? And they said that the only person that can really reject you are the people that are going to be at your deathbed.
Yep.
So we always run into buyers and sellers who we think hate us or don't ever want to see us again, but it doesn't matter. Are you doing it? As long as you do the best you can, that's all that matters. But also pay attention to the way you talk to yourself. Would you talk to your children that way?
Yeah.
Right. So.
Yeah. No, that's great. That's awesome.
One of the team leaders went to, how to build a really amazing team, and they said what they hear from a lot is they hear that, oh yeah, I don't want, my buyer specialist or my listing specialist to grow too much because then they'll outgrow me and they'll leave. And he's like, that's the most asinine way of thinking. He's like, you want them to be as fierce as possible and just celebrate it when they just completely blow you out the water. So I really liked that too. I liked looking at your team members as, someone like a sister or, or a cousin, and you want them to do better than you. You want them to grow and then, make you grow because you will grow at the same rate as long as you keep pouring into them. So that was a cool thing from a team leader perspective because I've always seen teams crumble because, they foster this amazing, relationship and then the talent leaves and then they're just, they hobble along for a little while and they build and they crumble again and it's like, yeah, I don't want to do that. I want to be very careful not to do that, and that's why I think we stay so small. But I also,
But think about it.
my team members.
Even
are
if
so
you have
high.
somebody that leaves,
Yeah.
more people are gonna want to join you because you've
Look at this
created.
person who came
Yes.
from your direction and stuff. So that is true. No, but so I'm all about it. Is don't be afraid of I should not be afraid of Lydia ever leaving me. Sorry. That if she became so strong and independent and she wanted to start her whole new business, that would be a big thing to celebrate and to always keep that in mind.
And you know what? There's gonna be somebody for you. There's gonna be somebody for her. We can't be all. I know. No, but like clients, right? We can't be all things to all clients. And so if I were to mentor or teach or train anybody and they become superstar agents,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be mad at that because they have their own. There's enough business for everybody.
Yep.
There really is. So.
Cool. Can I say something on that? Just like even working with Allison these past couple of years, to see her growth makes me want to even grow even more. And this is a relationship that's not friendship based, but to see what she's gone through these past years and her accomplishments, not just with her clients and the ones that she's servicing, in her own book of business that she performs for her and her family, her properties, just her individually, it's exponential for her. And that's why I love that you mentioned the ceilings, because I think she really has taken that to another level these past couple of years. And I'm beyond proud of to work beside her and now with Lydia. It really, truly cares. So thank you. That's silly. Awesome. Next question. I feel like you deviated. But it's all good nuggets. All the good stuff. I see everyone jotting down all the right stuff, which is good. So keep sharing, okay? Can you share any specific success stories or wins for those of you that have attended family reunion previously, as far as the wins in your business? Wins that you attribute to strategies or techniques learned at KW Family Reunion, by the agent camp, anything like that?
My first one. I think I had been with the company a couple of years, maybe 3, when I first went the first time, and then I realized this is bigger than me. This is so bigger than me, and I can grow into something much bigger. So that's what motivated me into getting mastery coaching. And I was scared. I was like, but I figured it out. you grow into what you have to, right? So like you give yourself a list of like 10 things to do, and if you have a whole day to do it, you'll get maybe 3 of them done. But if you give yourself 2 hours to get it done, you knock it all out, right? So it's kind of like that. Like you know what your dollar amount that you need to bring in is, and you make that. And if you raise that ceiling, then you go there. So I think just going to that and like reminding you and like showing you there's bigger and better, and you're not alone in your struggles. You're not alone in whether you're a newer agent, older agent, and anywhere in between. Not that I'm older, but I am.
I think what I really took with me over the course of all those family reunions, you gotta nurture those agent relationships. Like agents are eager to work with you and refer business to you when you are present. So don't ever assume that just because they know you and they know which town you're serving, that those referrals are a given. They're not. You gotta earn it over and over again by staying in touch, having that relationship, bringing something of value to the table. Make it a point to have a cup of coffee with those people when you're 4 days at a conference with tens and thousands of people. I think this year we were about 20,000. And you want to go to classes and there's network events, but take the time to meet that one single referred agent that might have referred somebody to you 5 years ago, because they're worth it and because it'll help you with your business. We're in a people business.
I kind of have a mastermind idea. Can I offshoot off of that? Okay, so just listening to what Danny was saying right now, we met probably 50 agents that have their cards and it's all getting entered in. But going through the past few years and getting a list of everyone who's referred business, and then maybe we take that tag scan system that we just learned from that one agent, right? We implement it with all of like the new things that we learn or that we're adding to, like the interest rate thing, right? Mm-hmm. And we get that into a one pager, kind of like how the playbook has it. Mm-hmm. And then if you were to send that out to all of anyone who's ever referred you business and with like a message like, hey Kaylee, here's a system that I'm using in Command to tag my clients. I got it from another agent who's a badass out in Charlottesville, and I've refined it and I wanted to share it with you in case you are working on this system as well. Yeah. Loved serving the Bennett family 3 years ago for you. If you get another El Paso referral, please, keep me in mind. And what if we were to do that, like find a nugget that we've worked on and honed over our business for like the past month? Because, every month you should be improving your system. So what if you were to hone that and then it was like a monthly email campaign that you sent out to your network? Mm-hmm. It would keep them reminding you. And then when you go to the family reunions, they're going to seek you out, right? Because maybe the month before when you're sending the newest system upgrade that you've made that you think that they might be interested in, you say, by the way, I'm going to family reunion next month, would love to meet up for a cup of coffee. Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, let's do that.
36
And what I also noticed this year, quite a few agents, and I thought it was the coolest thing, they shared their availability with us. Like they would literally say, hey, this is my schedule for this family reunion. These are the classes that I signed up. These are the panels that I'm speaking. Oh. These are the events that I paid for that I'm going to. Hook me up.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that.
So it's really cool. No, that's great. That's awesome. And then final 2 questions. For agents who haven't attended KW Family Reunion, what advice would you give them, and why do you believe it's worth the investment of time and resources?
Save the money, go. It impacts your business. It's a tax write-off. It's an experience like nobody else's. And the one thing that a lot of people probably don't realize, whatever little nugget you take from there is the nugget that gets your business going. And nobody can ever take that away from you.
Okay. Awesome. Any other answers?
I think if you're going to go to the family reunion, plan on how much alcohol you're planning to consume.
And don't hang out with the Christmas people.
Oh my gosh. Don't hang out with the Christmas people. They're a good time. But I think if you're going to go to a work event like this, you might, and your goal might be, I'm going to connect with my referral partners. We're going to have a loud time, and that's fine. If that is the plan, right? But if the plan is I'm going to learn something, then you better have a plan for how you're going to do that. I love the idea of sharing your schedule and seeing if any of your referral partners are out for a cup of coffee or a dinner or something like that. I don't know. Yeah.
I would say, think about what you want to focus on. Do you want to focus on your sphere or buyers or sellers, or is there any specific thing that you really want to focus on? And then pick your classes according to that focus.
Okay. Comfortable shoes. Comfortable shoes.
Yes.
Yeah, comfortable shoes.
Yeah, I thought these were comfortable. They
They're not. I thought so too.
I thought about it too.
Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
Awesome. All right. And then I want to say thank you to Cadence for being here. Liz and Janelle, sorry. Janelle, I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine.
Yes, thank you for being here. If you guys have any questions regarding a lender's perspective for family reunion or have any questions for our panelists, right now's the time to ask.
I have a panelist question.
Nanda?
Geraldine, how did you overcome your slow start last year? So you can.
I would say I just had to. I got to the point where I was going through some depression, I think, first of all, and so I got tired of being tired. But I would say that I just went back to putting my head down and just keep moving forward. Like, you know what? If it's too hard to look at your yearly goal, then look at your 6-month goal. If that's too hard, look at your 3-month. If that's too hard, focus on your 1 month. If that's too hard, weekly. And if that's still a lot for you, just focus on making it to the end of the day. And just ask yourself, prioritize. So one of the ADHD Zooms that I've attended, the lady talked about 5s. So 5 minutes of either meditation or prayer, 5 minutes of uplifting music, 5 minutes of reading. I mean, you're like, what is 5 minutes gonna do? You'd be surprised, right? And it can start at 5 and the day goes up. And then, she talked about 5 notes of gratitude to people. Like, you don't even have to text somebody that's in real estate or has been a client. Just text a friend you haven't seen or talked to in a while and just thank them for what a wonderful friendship they've given you, right? Stuff like that. And so, and prioritize your 5 things, right? And what should always be the number 1 priority? Well, yeah, outside of that, right? But it's in your business, I should say. In your business, I'm sorry. It should be lead generation, right?
Yes.
So you knock that out, and if that's the only thing you did for that day, then you've already won.
Good job. Yeah.
You've already won. So, chunking it down really to the most digestible portion that you can handle in your moment, that's what has gotten me through that.
So,
And then also I think, goal setting, because I hadn't really been really intentional about it. So I set up some goals, and as rough as the year started, I was surprised that I was actually able to accomplish a lot of those goals. I've been doing vision boards for 15 years now, and I usually get between 75 and 85% of those accomplishments done.
Do you see?
I do.
Oh, that's cute.
I will send it to you.
You should put a little here.
Right? All right. I'll put that on my to-do list.
Okay.
and I got one question for the new person that said something that everybody who knows me knows. I don't do crowds. So what did you do to prepare yourself for the 20,000 plus people that was roaming around in these rooms, in these tight spaces? How did you, I guess you chose a class. First of all, how did you choose your class? And then how did you navigate the crowds when you had to go to the classes during the day?
That's a great question, Julie. I was intentional with the things that I wanted to know more about. So that helped me to choose my classes. So again, for me, it was a lot of mindset and motivation. I knew that I wanted to have stronger conversations. I knew I wanted to perfect or have an idea of buyer's presentations, wanted to look at listings and things of that nature. So that's how I selected my classes. Going in, a lot of the classes were at the same time. So, and I'm directionally challenged, and my map was not working till like the last day.
That's not working.
It was okay. So I chose multiple classes. So if there were like maybe 3 that I was interested in, I tagged those 3. And then from where I was, like if I could find the place, like, oh, I am here. So I had someone send me a screenshot of their map, and I was trying to find it that way, and just went by that. So I left early, like early, because I know I'm gonna get lost. That's how I plan my life. Like I know I'm gonna get lost. So I'm out for time.
Okay.
Plan like you're gonna get a flat tire and you gotta fix it.
Yes.
Okay.
So I planned. I left early. I had options. So if this one didn't work out, I can go to that one. And I know that I get drained easily. So when I made my plan for, okay, I'm going to do these classes, after that, I went to the hotel. I was there after the classes were over. That was the end
You were
of my
peopled
social
out.
time. I certainly
You
was.
didn't hang out for the last Christmas, guys?
No, it wasn't there.
So,
Who was there, Joe?
and
I mean,
so I knew that I would need to recharge to be able to do it the next day. So I planned for that.
Yeah.
They're close to me. I've seen them
consistent. They're consistent. Be good to your body and listen to yourself. And like when you know you're gonna get peopled out,
Yes.
because I do.
Oh, that's
As social as I am, I get. Oh yeah, for sure. You can take like noise canceling headphones and just go sit in a corner and just play like spa music or meditation music and
It helps.
yeah.
Okay, so I
Oh, no, go ahead.
I got one more, and I want it from all of y'all.
All y'all.
All of y'all. All been vernacular. What is your value proposition? What, based on your experience at Pamela Reunion, what do you say now is your value that you bring to the table across the board? Because I've heard you all touch on it, but what is your value proposition? Yes, because I'm trying to pimp some of your stuff off,
Yeah.
trade mine.
Good job.
Yeah,
Mine's written down somewhere, but
So
the
mine's,
short
it's,
version.
it's still work in progress.
mine's
We literally just were teaching classes on this yesterday, Julie. Yes.
Before.
yeah.
I'll send you mine.
Okay.
Mine's along the lines of an work in progress, right? But I'm committed to listening to you and understanding what your goals are. And once I understand that, I'm going to put my 17-year professional background to work to achieve those goals in a way that really limits the amount of drama and the amount of headaches that you have to endure. I want it to be solutions-based for you and get you to your goals as fast as possible. So again, the emphasis there is I'm going to be listening to you. I'm going to be listening to your goals. And then I'm going to put what I have in my tool chest to work for you.
All right, Matt, you had a question?
Yeah. So like, this may not be family reunion based, but I'm curious for each of you, what do you think your main driver for success in real estate is? What is one thing you can say, yep, I did this really well? And what is one thing you're going to be working on this year?
You know what I learned? It's been a while, and I forgot. And then I got reminded about it. Success is 80% mindset. I'm working on my mindset. I'm protecting my mindset. One of the reasons why I changed coaches is I need help. I need to make sure that all that unnecessary outside noise is not distracting me from what I'm doing. And they actually teach that as VOLT, right? Protected mindset.
I wrote that in my book too, the 80% mindset, 20% action. That was it.
So mine's relationships. Most of my business in the past couple of years have all been repeat business from past clients, either that or referrals. And working on this year, I am started a team. So I think it would be now growing agents would be what I'm working on this year.
I'd say my strong suit is I'm extremely confident. I've even had somebody say to me before, "Wow, you're more confident than I thought you'd be." I was just like, I feel
Is that a backhanded compliment?
I'm fine.
Just take the win.
I'm not gonna overthink that.
Yeah, take the win.
So I'm very confident, which I feel like helps my clients feel comfortable with me because I go into a listing appointment with they're going to list with me that I'm going to take really good care of them. I think what I'm definitely working on, and I started actually right before the conference, was I'm going to try to improve on my agent relationships. I'm very direct, and so like that. Who said like text first like, "Hi, this is Allison from Keller Williams. Is this listing available?" Like that. I am the agent that says like, "Is listing available?" Like, like what do I need to
Well, I
know?
have a thing at the end where I identify myself, but yeah.
Yeah, no, but you said that's the problem with other agents texting. I'm very direct, and it can come off as I don't care. It's not that I don't care. I'm just in a get her done type of mindset. However, I've been told that that is something I really need to work on, and it has come to light this year that it's something that is a problem with my business, and I need to fix it. So
Susan Flores is so good at that.
Is
She's
she?
so, she has
to make sure
so,
love her.
yes.
Yeah.
I copied one of her offer emails because it was so sweet. The way she made
And
it.
you know, it might take a while for her, but she's like selling half of El Paso, right? But she's just so like friendly and nice and helpful. So, yeah.
So write her an email and then.
Yeah. Or just text her.
Hey, Chat GDP, send an email like Susan Flores would say.
Right.
Yeah. All right, so for me, I would say it's a lot more basic. Most personalities, our personalities are usually formed between the ages of like 3, 4, and 8 years old, right? So if you're like the chubby, funny girl, like you grow up to be, that's like your strong suit, right? That's how you get along in the world. Or if you're like really smart, you grow up to be the smart kid, right? The engineer or whatever. So you grow into like where you establish yourself. At a very young age, I was helpful, I was useful. And that comes from like being the only daughter in a Mexican household with 2 brothers. So I'm like the maid, the cook and the nanny. But so I really do feel like I have like the heart of a servant. And so I think that's where I'm very good with my clients. Like that's what I lean into. Like, you need something done? Okay, how are we gonna get it done? How are we gonna, like today, my clients bought this house a month and a half ago, and I'm going in every 2 weeks to check on the contractor's work. I'm filming videos and I'm sending them to her. And I went in with the blue tape today, like, like if it was a builder walkthrough. So like, I wanna make sure that I help them out so much that they're like a raving fan later. So, that's been my strong suit, whether you're organized or like Letty. Letty loves to listen to people's problems, and I just don't have the patience for that. Like, Letty is wonderful, and she's like a mother hen, like she'll listen to you and
She pat you on the back.
everything. She's amazing. So her clients, like the neurotic ones, are like perfect for her because she'll listen to them go on and on and on. I don't have the patience for that. I'm more about like, let's get your problems fixed and move on. But everybody has. Think about what you're known for. What would your friends say about your closest friends? Like, how would they categorize you, and how can you utilize that in your business?
It's very good. So for me, I'm not really sure at this point what I do well in real estate, but for me, what I do well is in my regular life with people I know is connecting with people. So I do definitely want to lean into that. Also, piggybacking off of what I've already heard, I know a lot of what I'm working on is mindset. So how to do that. I too have a hard time asking for help, and I know it's mostly ego. It's some things I feel like, well, you should know, and some things it's just stopping the noise in my head. So just really leaning into asking for what I need when I realize I need it. It's trying to connect with people. in a meaningful way. I'm not a pushy person. I'm not an aggressive person. So sometimes I wonder, like, am I not aggressive enough, or if I'm doing the right thing? So just working on when it's appropriate to do what, and conditioning my mind to do it when I know to do it.
Agent or seasoned agent. If you don't know something, you're not that important to not be able to ask anybody. Because we weren't born knowing everything.
Yeah. Then can I borrow you for a day?
What do you need done? Don't make me do dishes.
That's it, bro.
Do the dark time.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. I just want to invite everyone. Susan Flores thing dropped out here, so she is hosting a class. Well, thanks to Danny. There's going to be a class on the 14th in Las Cruces, so you guys can go ahead and attend. She is going to be teaching how it is that she got the relationship with the builder, right? And maybe you can.
Yeah, so for those of you that don't know Susan Flores, that's probably because she's a ghost. She is selling El Paso, she is selling New Mexico, she will not show up to any events, she will not do training. So this is the once in a lifetime opportunity, really.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times, especially, sorry, she's no longer here, with Mariah, and I know Julie, you are helping with new agents as well. You know, every blue moon, everybody wants to be a builder's agent, and which is legit, right? We want to grow our business to the extent like it's nobody would believe it. But what does it really take to become an agent, a listing agent for a builder? No matter how small, how big, no matter if it's a custom or a production builder, what do you have to do? How do you even get that job? And we're also, we're really blessed because of Susan to have some of the higher up managers show up, like I think it's a regional director that is also coming, Hicks Brothers. And they will Q&A with you why they chose Susan, what they're looking for, what their criteria is, you know, why do they even have a need to have a listing agent? And of course, payment, right? And so this is it, people. It can't get any better, really.
Thank you.
All right. So, thank you.